All right, so I saw this, man. I know this is like this is gonna be like busybody incarnate. All right, but
Can we talk about the epidemic of like younger kids growing up so fast, like acting like they're way older than they are?
I could never spend that much time
this is a good
dating.
start
Don't you worry,
using
girl. We can
TikTok
help.
compilation right
Today
at the
we're letting
beginning.
our 5-year-old get whatever she wants from Lululemon and Sephora. We literally told her she could pick any store she wanted to go to and she picked these two.
I just received my niece's Christmas list. What's on it? We've got clothes, blanket, mini backpack, drunk elephant skin.
Remember, people like made these videos. You know what I mean? You got to think about that, right? Like, why did they make this video? Oh, because they're trying to get famous by doing something, extreme.
7 years old.
The
What is she needing
possibilities
drunk
on
elephant
this.
for?
What has happened to 13-year-olds? I feel like they no longer go through an ugly phase. It just makes our generation seem like an idiot.
Why are we letting our
Damn, she was just she just called everyone in her generation ugly. Did you hear that?
kids walk around like they're 30 years old? You're 10.
Ages?
Preteens who once
Bro.
roamed the malls, shopping for spiky rubber earrings from Claire's and gossiping about the latest Hannah Montana episodes, are now spending their time filming TikTok dances,
supposed to be
reviewing
watching the
Stanley
10-year-old
Cups,
show?
and buying $90 retinol creams from Sephora. And it's
That's
more
just-
than
that's
just
the
that,
newest
the
trend.
preteen stage seems to be disappearing altogether. This small sliver of time between childhood and teenage life was once a transitional phase where children would start to find their place in the world. But now they bypass their awkward stage altogether and jump straight into behaving like adults. While it's
Look, man, I'm not the smartest tool in the shed. But this is like a new thing, right? Like, maybe she doesn't. Maybe she'll go into it. I don't know. But this is all marketing, all right? These terms, these different points in life, they're all things to just market to. It's not like it's not like a truly real biological thing, bro. All right, you go back 200 years. Not even that, dude, like 150 years, right? 100 years maybe even? Probably not 100 years. But I don't know.
It's perfectly normal to want to act grown up when you're a kid. This has been taken to a whole new level where kids are maturing before they're ready. But when did childhood turn into 8 going on 18?
How do you
And
know
what
this?
factors are contributing to the unraveling of preteenhood? Well, that's what
How
I'm
many
here to
preteens are you
investigate
talking
today.
to?
Why adolescence
How
has
many
been
did you know
lost
before?
and how an abrupt leap into adulthood impacts children's development. If you didn't know, the preteen adolescence phase is between the ages 9 and 12 roughly. This age is particularly distinct because
9?
it's the transition from childhood to teenhood where typically puberty starts. This is a time of self-discovery, trials and errors, a lot of struggles, and a lot of firsts. And most of
I hate that platitude so much, bro. It's a time of trials and errors, which, as you all know, after that, right, when you turn what is in this example? When you turn 14, you never have another trial or error in your life. It all ends then. Like, it's just... Bro, I hate, bro. They got their noses so, I don't even have one, man. But like they got their noses so come on, man. So deep in the book. All right? That these, the book of definitions, that just, these things have become self-evident when they in fact do not deserve to be self-evident, because they're not. It's like, what does that mean, bro? What does that mean? Can we stop going down, man?
us know from our own
I hate that if you click on this now, it fucking puts the thing down. I used to nervously click on it a few times, just oh, make sure it's selected, but now it's like, oh, going down. Going
own
down.
experiences at preteens that we did some embarrassing things in the process of finding those identities.
I
It's
didn't.
almost like a rite of passage. Every generation has their
Not
awkward
me.
stage, and with the advances in technology, us millennials are very thankful that we didn't have TikTok to display all those embarrassing moments publicly. But from what we're seeing of
Sounds like a self-report, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
preteens today, they aren't actually living through these millennial fears that we have, because what they post online looks like they're actually thriving through teenhood. And so it seems this awkward stage
Yo, damn, I'm just allergic to this video. I hate that word now. Thrive. Oh, they're thriving. Are you the target demographic, bro? This person, Ashley Ambers? You don't know that this is all fake, and you'd be like, oh, they're kids. It's that. It's like, no, man, they mimic what they see, the same as everyone else, all right? That shows how easy this shit is, all right? Y'all should know, all right? Back in 2005, we knew this, all right? Facebook, it's all fake, man. It's all the best parts. What does it even mean? They're thriving. It's a picture of them dancing. Do you think their life is literally a musical?
Which has been completely erased.
Like the video ends and they just dance off center stage, like dance brushing teeth, like.
So where did the preteens go? Well, they're obviously still there. Just the experience of preteen life as
Where did they go? You grew up and you were no longer in that group of people.
we knew it.
That's
is
where they
gone.
went.
With that, the interests and styles of preteens are now indistinguishable from their teenage counterparts. And so we're left here wondering, where did the voice changes and sudden acne and raging hormones go? Well, there are actually
Yeah, because raging hormones just end in 3 years. Definitely don't continue on to teenhood and, you know, the rest of your life. I'm joking. What, or am I?
a lot of factors playing into those things being hidden. This portion of today's video is sponsored by Blue Land. Did you know that the film around...
And of course, I know, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what she says or what kind of extreme thing she does, because at the end of the day, she's just here to get the bag, all right?
It breaks down into microplastics and contaminates the water that eventually end up...
Why are you talking about microplastics?
Of its bottles, tablets, wrappers...
When you were talking about plastic froyo earrings or whatever the hell.
Really enjoy the drum of your washer and you're good to go. And they really do their job of cleaning even the toughest stains.
Again, it's an ad. It's an ad. You know, she's here to get that bag, make that content. No market for preteens. Well, it's because COVID happened now. I don't know. I mean, it's just unnecessary. I mean, like, think about it from a marketing perspective, right? Especially if obviously I don't have the, you know, the Bibles of the companies that they go by, but if it really is, what you say, 9 to 13, bro, 4 years, who's gonna market to a demographic that's only a 4-year span versus, you know, like from 4 to 13, right? I'm not like giving an actual market analysis of this, but that's just like my immediate gumption, right? We are in a point of like monopolies, like extreme, like hyper monopolies, you know, where it's like you gotta fight. Dude, seriously, look this shit up, all right? You've got like, you know, you've got like all these smaller, like mid-sized companies where it's like, oh, you know, yeah, they're big, but you know, but then if you go up the ladder, you know, it's another company, and then another company owns that company, another company owns that, you know, and it's just, you go all the way to the crown of this bitch, and it's just a trickle down. Everything goes back to one, right? And we live in this time where no one has any attention span, so it's like, you know, oh man.
One of the reasons
appeal
that
to the
preteens
lowest
have is because they don't have
denominator.
designated stores for them anymore. Growing up, when departing from childhood, you would get stores specifically designed for that transition into teenhood. Think Pink by Victoria's Secret, Claire's, Justice.
Yo, yeah, it's true. I miss
These stores
McDonald's,
got you
man.
out of the childish styles of clothing and accessories while still keeping everything age appropriate. This is probably where you got your first makeup set, where they had the eyeshadow with the little eyeshadow applicators. And of course, we were obsessed with our flavored lip smackers. You also...
Quick look on Amazon. I'm seeing a lot of pinks. Is that the denomination? All right, this one looks a little. Okay, we got pastels. Look at this. Look at this one. Look at this one. But yeah, you don't need me to look into it too much. I mean, you just saw it. There it is. It exists. There you go. Everyone else is shopping on Amazon too.
The iconic best friend necklaces that everyone had in school. You probably went to Pink for your first training bra, a pair of sweatpants, and the overly scented body
Claire's
spray.
is going out,
Everything
though.
was like entry level into adulthood. You still dressed like children, but with an essence of maturity. But something that I didn't realize until late was that there aren't any new stores for preteens, and the stores that previously existed aren't popular.
There aren't any new stores, period, bro.
Everyone's always like, why aren't little girls being little girls anymore?
Well, where would you take your little girl to in the mall who's not 5, 6 years old? Is she gonna go, is a 10-year-old gonna go play in the play center? No, she's too big. Can she go to Sephora? No, apparently she's too small.
Just
But
accept
I
that
was
that
growing
time of
up, we used to go
marketing
to
is gone,
Lulu
bro.
and Justice. There was things in the mall that were tailored to that age demographic.
They've
and, like,
moved
those don't
on
exist
to
anymore.
There are a few reasons for this.
greener
For one,
pastures.
obviously
By
our
greener
culture has moved
pastures, I
away
mean
from
more
shopping
money.
malls with the increase of online shopping combined with the effects from the pandemic. So children aren't walking malls as much, which is really hard on foot traffic based stores like Claire's. Stores like these rely on browsing little knickknacks, and it doesn't translate well into online storefronts. The real
Yeah,
kicker,
because
though,
it's
that
all a
cut off the use
scam.
of preteen stores was the introduction of social media. Everything comes back to social media. We will be talking a lot about social media in this video because obviously it plays such a big role in the development of the new generations coming up. But a big reason for the lack of preteen stores is because children's fashion influence is now coming from TikTok and Instagram
And before
rather
that, it
than
was
their
coming from
peers at
YouTube.
school.
One of the most interesting and honestly
No, that ain't a
funniest
new
articles
thing, bro.
just
Since
dropped is about what
2005.
tweens in New York City are buying and shopping for. Let's talk about some of the things they said. These tweens are obsessed with skincare. At recess, they're asking what their favorite cleansers are and definitely love Glow Recipe. What is super interesting is everyone's dream is to be a beauty influencer on YouTube, but not like TikTok or Instagram.
The thing with social media, though, is that there is a requirement to be over the age of 13 to use their platforms. But that
Oh,
doesn't
we
stop
all
them,
know
as we've
that's never been
previously
true.
discussed. So as a child, you can freely
I
go
mean,
on
it's
any
true, but,
platform
you know, it's
and
never
take in
been
any content available to you.
enforced, you know,
problem
the
is that
majority
most
of
the
viewers
creators
on the
these
internet are
platforms
kids.
are over the age of 13 unless you go through the loophole of having a parent-run account. And this means that the kids that are going on these platforms are being influenced primarily by adults and teenagers. And this has led children into seeing anything that's made for preteens like Claire's or Ardeen as cringy.
By the way, if you
because it's
think
too
I'm like doing schizo status because I'm looking back and forth, it's because I have the actual video and then I have my OBS stream of it here, which is like at the same time. So it's like, you know, I don't know. Yeah, it's like, oh, which one's better to look at? I don't know.
childish
Still
compared to
figuring it out.
everything else they see on social media. And knowing how preteens
I hate
can
that.
be,
I hate
there
that
is a
so
lot of
much. This video is about to become a video about how I hate this so much. You click on this, and why? Who figured that was the good idea to do, bro?
social pressure even on the kids who aren't on social media
No, man.
to also be following these trends.
Like,
This is the cup that we got our daughter for Christmas. This is not a Stanley. This is a $9.98 Walmart cup that she said she thought was cute. She is 9 years old. On the second day back to school after Christmas break, she comes home. She's not crying. She's just upset. The girls, all the other girls in her grade, I'm not saying all, maybe she said 9, 10 of them, all got Stanleys for Christmas. And they made sure to let her know
that seems how
that this
that
is not a
normally
real
is.
Stanley, that this is fake,
You know,
and it's not as
forced
cool.
FOMO.
So she comes home, she's upset. She asks if she can have a real Stanley. So that being said, before you come at me, if you're a mom, if you're a parent, and you can do something to keep your child from getting made fun of, to help fit in, you're gonna do it. So we went and bought her a 30-ounce Stanley. Did I think that she needed one?
Wait, you caved to the peer pressure? Shouldn't this be like a good learning situation that like people are gonna make fun of you for not having worldly possessions or like not worth it? No, you just caved? Bro, that's called bad parenting. Like what examples does that set, right? Not only does that validate in some small part the kids, right? They're like, oh, if we bully someone, they'll do what we want. Bully might be a bit of an extreme. You know, someone's like, oh, you know, and you would think as the adult here, like imagine if that someone did that to her, like someone did that to me, right? Someone came up to me and I have like a fucking, you know, just look, man, for example, like I'm just gonna use my water cup here. You know, I have some, you know, not name brand basic ass cup. Why? Because it gets the fucking job done. All right, I don't need no name. What is the name brand gonna do different about holding my drink, right? Besides for if it keeps it nice and cold, right? Like I have my fucking, you know, I have this bad boy here, this big fucking 24-ounce cup. It keeps shit cold. Peak, bro. You can come back and there'll still be ice in it the next day. Right, you know, I got my normal thing, you know. And so it's like, bro, you don't have a whatever the fuck. You know, you don't have insert new thing. And it's like, bro, I'd rather like save for like retirement, dude. Okay, no. I'd rather save for a house. I'd literally rather save for like the new video game or some, stuff, right? Like what? I don't care, bro. I don't care. Like, dude.
No. Apparently, I've been proven wrong by the children in our school that are.
Wait, what happened?
Bought her a 30-ounce Stanley. Did I think that she needed one? No. Apparently, I've been proven wrong by the children in our school that are making fun of her for not having a real name brand Stanley.
And so it's become a
What if they made fun of her
problem.
for her name? Well, Jessica, I guess it's time to change your name. What if they made fun of her for like her hair color? Well, I guess it's time to dye it, man. Bro, what if they made fun of her for like being alive? I know that's morbid, but no, I don't know. How do you do that? I don't know the words. It was like, well, little Sarah, I guess this is goodbye. Like,
where children aren't buying from these preteen stores because it's cringy, and therefore there's no financial motivation for companies to make more preteen stores. And so there are even less shopping options for kids. As this journalist says, Instagram was not created for a younger audience, but they're on there and every brand has to respond to it. If none of these brands can turn a profit for this audience, they're going to continue to make content for them, and it's just going to get worse and worse. And so we're actually now seeing a lot of companies grouping preteens and teenagers together in their marketing. While trends change, these brands haven't been replaced by
bigger
their
market.
2021 preteen counterparts. Rather, brands designed and marketed for teenagers and young adults are including preteens in their marketing strategies. Think Brandy Melville, Dolls Kill, Fashion Nova, Shein, and Amazon. We had less of a product revolution and more of a marketing revolution. The idea of aging things up so that the consumer feels comfortable no matter their age. That's the way things are evolving. This is also how Sephora kids became a thing, because it makes sense to include them in their customer base. If you missed all the drama about Sephora kids, there's an epidemic of children using Drunk Elephant skincare and rare beauty makeup.
Bro, can
which
I
are the
say how
popular
crazy that
A-Curl
is?
products that are made for adults but are overly
Bro, like, cause I use some skincare stuff, right? But I thought, but at the same time, you have them coming out and saying fucking public surface announcements, like, if they use it, it's actually gonna like make them age faster. It's like, so let me get this straight. The stuff everyone's been putting on their face to make them look, younger longer, actually makes them look older sooner. I keep beating the hell out of my mic here, but I'm just like, man. It's like, what's up with that, huh? What's up with that, huh?
Consumed by 9-year-olds. These kids have been selling out these products and preventing adults who could actually use them from getting them. But despite the backlash that Sephora got,
online,
they
bro.
didn't change anything because they want children as their customers. They draw children in with brands that are made for children, and then
Well, that's
lock
not
them
really true. Drunk Elephant came out and said, like, no. I mean, are they going to keep people from selling it? I mean, it's like insert, supermarket here with cigarettes, right? They'll plaster warning labels everywhere. They'll literally like plaster, you're an idiot if you use this stuff because it's terrible for you and it's gonna kill you. That'll be $5.99. Like,
for life as habitual consumers. And brands moving away from child-based marketing is not the only thing kids have lost to guide them through their preteen years. While the simple solution might seem to just bring on more preteen stores, even with that, there's not
bro?
enough
No one's
media
going
made
anywhere.
specifically for preteens to support them.
bro, it's just the end of like outside shopping. People go to like supermarkets and video game stores. That's all.
Missing from childhood now, which is preteen media. Now, if you grew up when I did, I was born in '95, but any year surrounding that, you will also know the joy of preteen magazines. I remember them being everything in grade 6. Remember J14, Shout, Popstar, M, the list goes on. This is where we were told what to wear, tutorials on how to do our makeup, the hot gossip on celebrities.
So, moral of the story was, in the past, kids were being told what to think by people they would never meet. In the present, kids are being told what to believe by people they will never meet.
and of course
Not what to
the
believe, what to
posters
think.
that you had
Tomato,
to put
tomato,
up
maybe.
in either your locker at school or on your bedroom walls. Well, as you know, there just isn't a space for paper media anymore, and so preteen magazines are a thing of the past. The other form of media, though, that fed into our preteen lives was cable television. There were so many shows targeting preteens, but the creme of the crop
How long
was
do you think
the Disney Channel.
cable
The shows
television was
from Disney
around, bro?
were iconic and such a big part
Like,
of
my
so many
grandma
people's
was
upbringing.
around
Think of
during the inception of TV, when like the first station was just like a little Muppet show, right? Like she's talking about this like it's some grand bastion, right? You know, nature is unraveling at the seams, my dude. It's like, dude, you literally had like one generation that was like this. I mean, that all, look, hyperbolic, you know, maybe more like, you know, 2 or 3, right? Maybe 4. I mean, that's pushing it. 4 generations. Yeah, because yeah, this is no. Hold on, man. This is actually really a new thing. This is a newer thing than it is an older thing. All right, they're literally like wasn't kid marketing 50 years ago. Like there was no teen, right? It was literally the rise of sort of like outward marketing, right? Like, you know, when radio happened and like, you know, satellite TV, you know, analog TV, all that stuff. When it suddenly became that you could market to people a long way away with like more than just like you know, a flyer, right? That's like, this is a new thing, bro. Like it's just it's like every other fad. It just came and went. Like this isn't, you know, how society is erasing preteen culture. Society made preteen culture, my dude. What are you talking about?
Lizzie McGuire, Ned's Declassified, Hannah Montana, Wizards of Waverly Place.
There's like, Disney Channel is still around, you know?
Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, That's So Raven. There are too many to list. The thing that made these shows so special is that they taught us about the transition from childhood to adulthood. They addressed things like crushes, navigating cliques in school, conflict with friends and parents.
Weren't all these shows she listed made by like a creepy dude, Dan Schneider or something? And like there's a bunch of like feet pics and it's like hidden sexuality or whatever the fuck. So that's what you want, bro?
And just finding
Allegedly. I don't remember the stories that much.
out who you are and what you want to be. They were still really silly, of course, but they were so popular because kids could really relate during such a pivotal time where children can feel so lost. Now take a second and try and think of an equivalent to these preteen shows and magazines for kids today.
That's because we're in the culture of we're in the rerun culture, my dude. Do you know how long Seinfeld has been on the air? I was gonna say Friends, but like, you know, The Office, freaking, you know, Always Sunny. I mean, like this is the rerun culture. It's like, why make it over again? Just keep packaging the old thing to new people, right? We are literally in the age of on-demand video. All right, you got Netflix, you got YouTube, you got Pirate Bay, you got Amazon. Like you can watch these things. In fact, that was just a thing that happened, wasn't it? That they added, what show was it? Like, it wasn't That So Raven. It was like Ashley and Ashley, Bashley, Gashly, whatever, Drake and Joss. I don't know, whatever video series, right? They added it to Amazon or something like that, and then like she, you know, the actor is like in her like late 20s or something like that, and she had someone come up to her, like a kid who had just watched the show, and be like, "You got old." So it's like there. This is an opinion piece, an incorrect opinion piece at best. There's literally, you know, there's proof everywhere that's not the case, right? Like, why did we have to become this culture of like, you know, like consume and throw away, right? It's like a show happens, and the second it stops airing, it's old news, man. It doesn't exist anymore. Can you imagine if we did that with everything? Like we invented bread, and you know, we had it for a week. You know, we're like, that's good. All right, let's throw that out and never do that again. Because we got to keep moving on. You know, pizza, bro. If they had thrown out pizza, like, you know, the week after it was invented, I would riot, bro. And I wouldn't even know why. I would just wake up in the morning angry. You know, I do that sometimes anyway. Maybe there's a Mandela effect. Maybe I missed something in the sauce.
I can't think of any.
Dude, what are kids watching nowadays? Like for their teen years? What is getting them through life? Are they just watching adult shows? Because I've not even heard a
Mostly
murmur
YouTube,
about any shows
TikTok,
that are
you know,
even
Coco
close
Melon.
to what we used to have.
I tried to find some, and I can't. I even looked on the Disney website, and I found some new preteen shows, but they were few and far between, and also just not popular with the kids.
I mean,
as far
Power
as I know.
Rangers, you know,
Now, the reason preteen shows has
was,
ended
you know,
mostly has to do
repackaged
with
Japanese
the culture
show.
around
That's
these
just how it
shows.
is.
Back in my day, the thing that every kid would do, or at least wanted to do, when they got off school was to unwind with some cable television.
Yeah,
and
now
so that
it's
meant that
create
most of your friends
content.
were watching the same shows, usually at the same times,
Or
which
hustling,
helped build the popularity.
because
It was something
economy
you could
is
talk about in
in
the classroom and watch
chaos.
together when you went over to each other's houses, because you were all keeping up at the same pace. And with that, it brought kids.
Yo, y'all. Okay, I know I keep pausing, but y'all remember when like kids like worked on the farm the same as the parents? Y'all remember those days? Like,
together to form a sense of
let's go back to
community
that.
over common interests. Today, however, kids aren't running home to watch cable TV. If they even have cable TV, I don't know anyone who does besides my mom. So alternatively, they're running home to scroll on their phones. Not all of them, of course, but 64% of tweens reported watching online videos every day.
yeah,
And
I wake up
38%
and
of survey
check my phone.
respondents said that they use social media. That's a lot of children watching a combination of YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. This again means that the majority of children's influence is coming from
No
teenagers
Twitch?
and
No,
adults.
joking.
And this warps their expectations of their
Wait,
life.
what was that?
Influence is coming from teenagers and adults. This again means that the majority of children's influence is coming from teenagers and adults. And this
It was also doing that before. Do you think babies were making the shows? That's So Raven was produced by adults, bro. What are you talking about? She thinks Boss Baby is real. Sitting there, baby, with the script.
warps their expectations of their little lives.
Viral TikTok that went around where you have these girls, they were 11 years old and they looked like they could have been 16. They look that way because they're dressed a certain way, they have the makeup a certain way, they have their hair a certain way, and the only reason they know how to look that way is because of the internet. And because of Instagram, and because they can
like
search
makeup
on
tutorials.
They can search on YouTube. They
I
can
mean,
watch
could you,
videos of the day.
could you not have like asked
They
people
know
before?
what 17, 18, 21, 25-year-old girls look like, what they're doing. They can have it. They can pull it up next to them. They can dress like that. You go to Instagram, a bunch of those Instagram models basically have where their clothes are in their bio. They have
Yeah,
like,
'cause it's
add
all
the link.
sponsored.
Go add the link. Like you could buy anything that those girls look like or what they're wearing.
As this
True.
one journalist wrote, instead of tearing out pages from magazines like Ms. and YM for age-appropriate fashion inspo, they log into Instagram and save their favorite looks from influencers, models, and pop stars. While during our childhoods, we only had to worry about getting our homework done and keeping up with the latest episode of Hannah Montana, kids now have to worry about keeping up with the standards of grown adults. Instead of having media made to help with that transition into
Again, the standard
adulthood,
of grown
they're just
adults. If you
shown
look
how
at
to
that, that's
mimic
how it was
adults.
before
And
your
so that's
generation.
what they're doing. They're not only watching social media though. They do still watch shows, but they're
Like, your
watching
opinion is the
Euphoria
outlier.
and Outer Banks, which are
Sort
adult-themed
of.
shows with sex, violence, alcohol abuse, drugs. You get the idea. It's everything preteens are not ready for.
I get so mad because kids are reading books full of smut. Kids are watching shows that have like a ton of nudity and like are way more mature than anything I ever watched when I was a kid. Because
What are these
they were
hands?
just watching adult things.
And this is again because there just aren't alternative shows for preteens to watch, and so they're just watching whatever is recommended to them by people on TikTok. And as you can expect, children are being affected negatively from being on platforms that are made for adults. And these implications are greater than just from the influencers they consume, but from the actual advertisements they're exposed to. A question I had in all of this was, okay, children are primarily on social media, but what's the difference between the advertisements they get there versus the commercials we would get from cable TV? Because
No, right.
Lord knows, since the dawn of time, children have been the prey of advertisements. We grew up getting 2-minute ad segments in the middle of all of our shows, and As far as we know, it didn't affect us. But the difference, I think, is
disagree
that
with
we
that,
got
man.
ads for things like toys
It's
and
affected you
games,
right now.
and kids now are getting ads for Stanley Cups and wrinkle-free straws. If you haven't looked up wrinkle-free straws,
I've not even...
it's a rabbit hole. But as I found, there
Huh?
are actually rules specifically for advertising
Huh?
to children.
No. You can't just tell me wrinkle-free straw and move on. The straw has no wrinkles, or the person?
Straws. If you haven't looked...
What are you doing to me, bro? Is the implication that you have to make the duck face in order to drink from a straw? Because that's just not true, bro. Wait, look. Proof that I was actually doing it, not just like sitting there. You don't have to. You don't have to do that, bro. Like, you don't have to do that. You just put it in your... You don't have to, like, give it some top. That's not a thing you have to do, bro. Bro, this is preying on ignorance of the body.
Looked up wrinkle-free straws.
What's up with that, man? No, man. No.
But as I found, there are actually rules specifically for advertising to children that make social media unique. And that difference is that according to U.S. federal
supposed to be
law,
anyway.
collecting children's personal data for purposes such as ad targeting requires websites and online services to obtain parental consent. And using apps like YouTube means agreeing to give up your personal information, so the children watching YouTube videos were being illegally advertised to. But this did change in, I think it was like 2017 era. I didn't actually double check that. But COPPA actually did crack down on YouTube for advertising to kids. This was a huge no-no that was going on for a long time, but YouTube got away with it because they claimed that their platform was for ages 13 and up. But obviously, children were still on the platform as there was so much content.
Remember that fucking dude
A report
from
by
the
Analytics alleges that dozens of major
from the
ad tech and data brokers are
Papa
harvesting
thing that
data
was like,
from viewers.
he was there, he was like, we will go after people and deal out lawsuits. They didn't.
Whether the users
They didn't.
identify as kids or
Not a one.
cannot be monetized in the same way anymore. This means for all social media platforms
Just like
to
all
comply with
politicians.
COPPA,
Not a
they choose to
politician,
ban
we know.
users who are under the age of 13, because
All
the
talk,
alternative
man.
would be to instead allow them on the platforms but without the targeted advertising, which is bad for business. The point of all this being that we were advertised to for kids products because TV networks weren't mining our data. But brands on social media are technically required to advertise to ages 13 and up because otherwise they wouldn't be complying with COPPA. So the children who are using social media are not only being influenced by the teenagers and adults who are creating on these platforms, but are also getting advertisements that are made for teenagers and adults. Now, I can't prove this. This is just a connection that I've made.
Oh, we got an
but it
opinion,
just
the
wouldn't
first
make sense
opinion of the
for these
video.
brands to make ads for an age group that isn't legally allowed on the platform. This is also a big reason why companies have grouped preteens and teenagers together in their marketing. Because companies still want the money from preteens.
That's true.
Let's
That's
get that
a good one.
straight. And when preteens are already acting like the teenagers they're idolizing, they don't even stand out as a separate target audience. Alyssa Bonano says, when you're trying to target preteens, you don't have a specific strategy for preteens, then teens, then young 20-somethings. Age 10 to 24 is treated as nearly one group. This is yet another factor that's taking away children's childhoods, because kids aren't even seeing fun, age-appropriate merchandise that's available to them if they're only ever on social media. And as
Can we take a moment to appreciate the fact that there is an age-appropriate marketing, right? Like, why are you marketing to kids at all, bro? Wasn't that like the whole thing? It genuinely, it just goes back to the cigarette thing, right?
You can expect being
It's bad
exposed
to market
to
this.
adult content too
There
young
you go.
and being forced to grow up too quickly
buy this,
has
man.
consequences. Despite how much we may wish we could have skipped over our preteen years, they do serve a very important purpose to us. Between having no content or merchandise made specifically for preteens, as we're seeing, these kids are seemingly skipping over their awkward phase. This may seem nice on the surface, I mean, who really likes looking back on their awkward phase? But it is a really important phase of life. That transition between middle school and high school is vital to finding your identity. Missing out on your
School
preteen stage means missing
It's
out
a
on
societal
personality
construct.
changes,
It's not a
developing
natural
style,
thing.
finding your hobbies and passions, finding your friend groups. You take this time to learn about yourself and the world around you. The fact that the preteen stage is messy and uncomfortable is what we need to develop into our adult selves. Without this knowledge of the awkward years, you will continue to be confused later in life. Self-identity ebbs and flows over the course of a lifetime, but this period of life is the true beginning of the process. Instead, these kids are just following whatever they see online. And this leads
Bro,
to
my
many
true
people
beginning
claiming
of
that there
my
are
of my
no
life was when I
subcultures in teenhood anymore, just
fell
trends of
in
cores
between
that
two
everyone's trying to
boats
keep up
at
with. Instead of
age
having the
2.
goth kids, the nerds, the jocks, the preppy
The
kids,
nerdy
we have
boys
clean
versus
girl
the
aesthetic
smart
and
boys.
cottagecore and Barbiecore and recently Brat. The difference is that these subcultures were identities
Yo,
that would
Brat.
stick with you through teenhood and even into adulthood. They were scenes that you had to find your way into, whether that was wearing the right clothing, making the right friends, hanging out outside of the right stores, or excelling at a certain skill set. But once you were in, it gave you a community, and one that you could trust on and rely on throughout the roller coaster of life, compared to aesthetics which are visually appealing but provide no depth or shared experience. As this journalist puts it, they come and go and blend and break apart like clouds in the wind, many within weeks of appearing. They
poetic.
have much content but little context, a lot to look at but a very thin relationship to any real life anything, like behaviors and gathering places. And it's not that kids aren't
There are no
looking for the
gathering
connection
places
that
for
shared
anybody.
experiences bring. They're
That is
desperate.
literally, that is like one of the biggest like droughts we have right now is third places. And anytime we find one, like the gym, they punish us for it. They're like, wait a minute, people are like actually coming here. Yo, man, raise the prices. Raise the price. Oh, we can't have this, man. No, we got to keep them sad and depressed.
To find the same identity and
Gotta keep
validation in
them
the same way that we
fractured,
were looking for it as
scattered, and
preteens.
confused.
They just aren't offered anything more than these fleeting styles that exist primarily online. The kind of real-world cultural community has been replaced by an algorithmic fluidity in which nothing hangs around long enough to grow roots. Children are missing out on finding their uniqueness, their personality, their creativity, all to appease the online world. Instead, with all the resources at their fingertips, they take the trends that they see online, form their whole personalities around it, and then switch it up every 6 months. But the worry is that they will enter into adulthood with a false sense of identity that is dependent on cultural planes that disappear every time the trends change. Now, while this is a real phenomenon that we are seeing in teens, it's important to note that we're not talking in absolutes. Like I said, kids are desperate for that feeling of belonging, and so when the opportunity arises to build community, they will jump on it. Things like sports and school clubs will always bring kids together. But the point being that children are getting less and less opportunities to fall into these social groups when the third places that are available to them are dwindling and they're spending more and more of their time online.
That is all of us, bro. Overexposure to crisis, again, this is not a kid-only thing. This is literally a human problem, all right? Again, go back, again, think about it, what's good for the fucking, what's it called? What's good for the that's not the group, like the old, like the small like camp, what's good for the camp is good for the individual or whatever. But we had our small groups, and even for the longest time too, it's like, okay, we had like a nice little chunky city, right? Like damn, like 1,000 people, bro. But it's not like you ever heard or met a good deal of those people. They all, worked in the background of your existence like shadows. Like, not shadows, like phantoms. But now, you hear every little Tom, Dick, or Harry sob story, bro. I probably can't say it, but like, paintball game at a school here, paintball game at a school there. It's like you hear it all, man. And it's kind of like the idea like people are being invalidated because it's kind of the idea that there will always be someone worse off than you, the same way there's always going to be someone more successful than you. Like people feel invalidated because of their struggles, because you know, someone got like, you know, someone like accidentally fell into the sun, you know.
At these young ages
It's
is
like,
that
how
it
can I ever
exposes
top
them
that?
to the horrors of the world younger than they're ready for. It all plays into children being on a site that's not made for them, and so they're being exposed to all the dooming news in the world way before any other generation was. There has always been bad things going on in the world, and there will continue to always be bad things going on in the world.
Why is she
But if we
showing
shelter
Robin
kids from
Hood?
this instead of
Why was she showing Robin Hood? Huh? Why? Bro, what was this B-roll footage? Oh, come on, man. It wasn't that long ago, bro. Okay, then maybe that's not Robin Hood. What is that? It's some sort of price range. Why is she showing stocks? What is this B-roll footage?
But we should be sheltering kids from this instead of giving them open access to all world events.
An audit,
Kids
you
these
know,
days are getting
2000
live
A
streams
Space
of
Odyssey, look at that.
wars, economic crashes, civil unrest, and a lot more. During a time
Remember
of
when the
life where
towers happened? I don't, you know, I do. Well, okay, I mean, not literally, but like, you know, I was around, you know, that happened. That was on the news. You know, was there like a boy that was like trapped in a hot air balloon space saucer? I remember that one. I remember watching that one on the TV.
kids should just be focusing on their friends and their hobbies, they're instead taking on the burdens of the world.
Remember World War II when everyone's families were like at war? That one was pretty hard to avoid, and you couldn't buy anything like actually because like it was all being used as like war rations, you know? You know, because mom was always complaining that she didn't have any leggings left because they were used for war parachutes, soldiers' parachutes. You know, y'all remember that? And the cartoons, the literal cartoons, the Bugs Bunny on the TV screen was like fighting Hitler. Like, is this your first rodeo? It's not, man.
The rest of us. They see it and they worry whether us adults realize it. And this takes such a toll on them in such a sensitive time of life. The average parent allows their child a smartphone at the age of 10, opening up a world inaccessible to
that's effed up though. I didn't get my first phone until like 14.
News, social media,
I mean, I
and
got a
other
flip phone the
privileges
year before, but I
previously
didn't like
reserved
it.
for adults, forcing them into emotional maturity before they reach adulthood.
That is such a crazy thing. I just had a time warp of that. I remember I got it for my birthday or Christmas or something like that. My first phone, and I asked for a flip phone instead of a smartphone. Like I vaguely knew the idea of a smartphone, right? And I asked for a flip phone because the flipping was cool. Like I'd messed with flip phones before, you know, and it was, you know, I was like, oh, that's so cool, and I want that more than a smartphone. It's like, bro. Okay, I mean, you know, that like a 3DS style smartphone, right? That, you know, like that opens up like that, so it protects the screen. I actually would still, I would still fuck with that. Not these like not these dual things that they actually have that are like effed up and like break though. But yeah,
I talked about this in my last Gen Alpha video, but if you missed it,
we're at the
during
mid
years
part.
of puberty, a
Drink
child's
time.
brain is developing at such a rapid rate, and the neural connections that they make during this time will stick with them for the rest of their lives. This is a time that defines their perspective on life, their hobbies and habits, and so when these kids are exposed to the horrors of the world, it can cause them to lose hope for their future.
Again,
Dr.
World War
Jenkins
II.
says there is increased exposure to violent or sexual content at a younger age, which causes a desensitization and normalization, because children's brains aren't fully developed to process this in a way that an adult brain can. This, of course, plays such a big
desensitization
role
is
in what we're
always a
seeing in
thing.
children, being that they're growing up too quickly because their innocence is being stripped away. This journalist laments the loss of childhood to phones, saying that they've spent many hours with their faces in screens and probably haven't experienced the same authentic joy as many of us have. The familiar feeling of smelling the sweet summer air and dew through our noses as we play outside, the miserable feeling
this
of
was written by a
boredom that
boomer.
becomes oddly nostalgic once life becomes too busy to be bored anymore. The hopes and dreams that we have as children are only able to form when we aren't bogged down by the weight of the world on our shoulders. And And so ends another doom and gloom video about kids these days that I apparently love making. But it's not without hope. The effects we're seeing of social media on kids are still so new that there's still time to rewrite the story for these kids. With all the research coming out about the damages
Again, I'd say just look at World War
children,
II, the effects
things
on
are
World War
starting
II,
to
and I know it
change.
wasn't
Here in
that good,
BC,
man.
this fall marks the first year that there will be cell phone restrictions in schools, varying from city to city, but generally the policy is full restriction in elementary schools.
Yo, I had
and allowed
I
use
had
during
cell phone
non-class time in high
restrictions.
schools, as well as in Florida
This
this
ain't the
past
first.
spring, they submitted
I mean,
a bill that would
you know, I
prohibit
know,
children
stupid.
under the age of 16 from using social media without parental permission. This is all
Bro,
fantastic
whoa, whoa, whoa,
news.
whoa,
It's
whoa, whoa, whoa,
such a
whoa, whoa.
great
That
step
is
in
what, that's literally what Kappa said. Like 16. 16 and under can't use this. And guess what happened? Huh. They didn't have the money or manpower to enforce it.
media without
And they just like
parental
stopped
permission.
caring.
This is all fantastic news. It's such a great step in the right
By
direction.
the way, can I mention, I just realized, man, time really is a flat circle. Like I just said, the flip phone was cool, then smartphone was cool, and now we've gone back to smartphone that flips, right? Man, I just realized how radical like a 3DS style smartphone would actually be. Dude, I want that now. And like I said, not this stupid like paperless whatever like you know smartphone that flips, but it breaks after 1,000 and it's like the screen gets bent. It's like, no, man.
And in the meantime, we as parents can help counter this by keeping our children away from media made for adults. With more parents allowing space for kids to be kids,
Really?
hopefully there will
Who
be
knew?
less social pressure.
It's almost
on
like that was
children to
always the
grow up
thing.
so
Remember
early.
dirty
And if you wanna
magazines
stay
like
up to date
50
on
years
topics
ago?
like this one, now's your reminder to subscribe. I put out video essays every month on topics surrounding
Okay, this might just be
child.
I mean, I'm not even human.
yeah. The rest of it was just kind of shame. But yeah, the rest of the video there is just like outro and self promo. But yeah, this video is really, you know, I'm probably gonna title it that, but this video is really just like Busybody self incarnate. You know, not self Busybody incarnate. I am 15 years old. It is not the norm or very common. I think the whole viewpoint on this new generation is largely based on only an online experience. My sister and all her friends are just regular kids. They play, believe, misspelled, and build forts. Yeah, that's the biggest question. It's like where are you getting your sources from, right? Radical, you know, radical resources. Like, have you done a survey, right? I mean, bro, when I was growing up, I knew like what, a 13-year-old who smoked, you know, there's radical examples of everything, right? And especially today, it's the radical examples that get the most you know, stuff. Like no one's reading an article or a video about like old man plants tree, you know. And again, it's like, what's the point of it? And be like, I know, it's to get the bag. All right, I know that's why she's doing it. She had the sponsor there. All right, because that's all YouTube is now, man. I say, oh my God, I hate that too, though. That's all YouTube is, man. It's all about getting that bag. It's like, bro, that's how it was since like, what, 2012, 2013, bro, when they did the huge like YouTube cleanse of copyrighted content and they started having like sponsors. Like the golden age you're thinking about was a very crummy part of YouTube when no one knew what they were doing or had access to anything. But that's all, man. I've rambled on long enough. It's an interesting little video, except for the fact that there's like no evidence and it's like it's all very uneducated armchair stuff. And it's just out to get the bag. You know what I mean? Like, is there a problem? Yeah, but there's always a problem. There is literally always a problem, bro. Like opioid, like whatever the heck, like every generation has problem, you know, problem kids, problem areas, problem, all that stuff, man. And it's just going to continue till the end of the days, right? The only thing is there's more coverage of it because there is more coverage going around, right? We've gotten to a point we're basically the Metal Gear Solid 2 Patriot AI at the end, right? We've gotten to a point that we're so efficient at sorting through all the garbage that we find we don't find the diamonds, we find the truly rancid stuff, right? Like literally us people, we live in garbage and we're so good at sorting through the garbage. We're like, oh, this one smells really bad, man. Take it, like, But that's all. Thanks for watching. Watch another video. Subscribe, maybe. I don't know. At the same time, the algorithms don't actually like it if you subscribe and don't watch. So actually, if you're going to do anything, watch more videos. Don't subscribe. If you want to watch more videos and subscribe, that's cool, but don't just subscribe. Don't do it. Domsha, out.